Good morning, Crystal. How are you?
Good morning, afternoon, Jevon. It's been a while. Happy New
It
Year.
has been. It
Glad
has
to
been.
see you.
It's very good to see you and to be seen.
Yes, it
We
is.
are embarking upon a new year, which gave me the impetus for this show. New year, now what kind of thing. So we're going to jump into that. Plus, that wonderful article that you gave me about, let's just put it, don't be that guy. So let's
Yes.
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But before we get started, just wanted to chat and catch up. So the holidays were good, I take it?
Oh, the holidays were excellent. Uh, this year, everyone that I bought gifts for absolutely loved them. So that's a feat
Oh,
all by itself, especially in the within the household.
Auntie
My
and
niece,
sis did good then.
did good. My nephews were happy with theirs. My brother-in-law was happy with his. My best friend, she was happy with hers. So that was a good thing. My niece is pregnant, and so I'm
Whoa.
going to be which is a good thing. She's married. We This is a planned pregnancy.
Okay.
Um, so I am, and she was I I raised her up until she was 5 when she went to Egypt to live, and so I've been almost like a mom versus an aunt.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm calling myself a grand auntie granny, Nana.
Whoa. A grand auntie or an auntie granny? A granny aunt?
Auntie, yeah, not a granny.
Not a granny. You do not look old enough to be a granny. I don't know if you need to put grand in front of there. Maybe you could just go with auntie. That
Auntie,
sounds
auntie
hip
granny,
and cool, more like you. Just auntie. You could just be
auntie,
auntie.
just be
That's
auntie.
cool. Once
So
an
I'm
auntie, always an auntie. Who cares about the grands and stuff? Those are
So I
unimportant.
am happy about that. Happy for her. We just have to decide what's going to happen as far as whether she's having the baby here in the States, because right now she's in Egypt,
Cool.
or will I be going to Egypt? But it's all about making sure that the child has American citizenship. So she's actually uh, half American and half Egyptian.
Okay.
Um, so I believe she sent me a message yesterday. She went to the the embassy, and long as she is an American citizen, then wherever her baby is born will be American citizenship. So her husband is in Qatar. We need to make sure she has the baby either in the U.S. or in Egypt because that is where she has her citizenship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
either
interesting.
yeah, so we still got to work out those details, but I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
Now,
Um,
how far along is she? Is she like?
just the early first trimester.
Oh, wow. Is
Yeah,
this her first one?
this is her first one. She got married
Boy.
last year,
Yeah.
and we had the crunch was on because she's not in her 20s, she's in her
Okay.
30s, and
Oh,
so yeah, so late 30s. So we had to make sure she got that, and she was looking forward to that. So I'm excited. She wants a boy. We'll
yeah.
see what
Good for
God gives
you.
us, but whatever it is, I'm happy, and hopefully
Yeah.
it's just a healthy, happy baby, and I can be there for the birth. So just like I
Yeah.
was there for hers.
I mean, you're a cool aunt. So is that baby going to be able to measure up? He's got a lot to go through, to be the nephew slash niece of such a cool lady like you. So
I know he's gonna
is
be
she going to
cool.
prep
He or
him?
she.
How's
I'm
he
gonna
get ready
prep him.
for that? You're going to prep him.
I prepped her, so yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
prep
you
him.
prepped her.
I prepped her.
Okay, 'cause I'm thinking somebody needs to be doing a little studying outside to get ready for Crystal Mitchell there.
Right,
This doesn't just like
exactly.
pop in, right? You
No,
just don't
just
like
can't pop in.
show
That's
up.
like that. So I'm excited, and I'm excited about starting the new year. Got some big plans for my other podcast, and I'm helping somebody else get their podcast together. We might do something jointly somewhere next couple of months, so we'll see. And
Cool. Cool, cool.
and
Looking
then I
forward to
have
that.
some other big news, but I can't share it just yet on air. I'll share it with you after we're off air, but
Okay.
which is
Okay.
huge, life changing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So how about you and yours?
Oh, mine was great. I got no news. Nobody cares. We're good.
But you traveled, right? You were in Mexico.
I did. It was a fantastic trip. I
Okay.
went through a local travel agent and they hooked it up. And I'm at that point in my life where, I can't do big things, but
Right.
little things I can do. And
Mm.
I realized that if it costs me a little more to have it done and taken care of, then I'm willing to do that. And so I did that, and that worked out really well. We went down
Okay.
to Mexico, had a great tequila tour, a great wine tour, just saw a bunch of sites. The people were lovely. We pulled that thing. I didn't know until we got there, but we pulled that whole I'm an American, so everyone ought to do my bidding.
Uh,
Thank goodness most of the country was like, you ain't in America now. This is our country. We do it our way. You need to get used to
ah.
some other ways of operating. So that was really good. I think everybody ought to get that every once in a while. So that was fun. It was just a great
Okay.
trip. Great trip. Great
Good.
season. Yeah. Looking forward to
Good.
this year. Looking forward to hearing about your big news and welcoming that little person in. That's super exciting.
Yes.
We'll have to have her on the show and have her give us her words of wisdom, just
Yes.
arriving in the world. And like I said before, I'm jazzed about what we're going to talk about today. So let's get right to it.
All right. Sounds
Um,
good to me.
okay, so beginning of the year, I thought we could start with, especially because you work with a lot of folks that are thinking about their second or sometimes third career.
Act.
So, what's that?
Act.
Third
The
act.
second and
Yeah.
third act.
Yes, third act. I like
Right.
that. So let's jump into what we're going to do. And I broke it down into three categories. One, you're staying with the company. Second, you're just retiring. And third, you're going to start a business. So the first one, you're staying with the company. Let's talk about that because we know a lot of folks who are still there trying to think about what they're going to do, which is cool. So if you're staying, it's a great time to reevaluate, rebalance your portfolio. Let's not just sit there and say, well, it's the same as it was last year, because that's not true, right? You're a year older, things have changed. I went from Windows, I don't know if that to Windows 10. So things are changing and they're a little bit different. They're a little bit
Just
different.
all in one morning, huh?
Well, man, I'll tell you'd be amazed. Things are a little different. It doesn't mean that you were wrong. It does mean that you get the opportunity to make another decision about what's going on, how you're going to react to the market. Because we want to remember that we don't want the market to control how we do things. We want to react to the market as what's good for us. We make the
Right.
decision based on what's going on in our life as to what we're going to do. I think a lot of
Right.
people don't remember that, but that's what we want to do. So,
Mm.
taking that questionnaire, every worthwhile mutual fund has the option, or you can go online. It's just a questionnaire telling you what your risk tolerance is. That always changes for folks. I suggest you do that at least once a year. Some financial advisors say you only need to do it every couple of years, or if your life changes. I'm not one of those guys. I like to do it once a year or earlier if your life changes. So, for example, your niece, she's having a baby. I would say she should do it now, those 8 to 10 questions with and without her spouse. And once that baby arrives, she should do it again, because you would be surprised how things shift in your life when someone comes into your world.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
let's take the questionnaire. So, got to do that. And then, of course, we want to do what's called rebalancing. Rebalancing is where we really make the money in retirement planning, in a retirement plan with an employer. That's when we, for lack of a better word, sell the winners, buy the losers. We're going to sell what's doing well. We're going to buy what's not doing so well. And that's the key to retirement plan investing in a lot of ways. The first way is it allows you to, as we know, buy low and sell high. So you can't buy low if your stuff is going up. So this is an opportunity to buy low, get those deals, and then profit from the big time. We get the cash to buy low. And that's what we want to do inside the retirement plan. I can't make that emphasis enough. Inside the retirement plan, we're going to buy low, sell high periodically. Outside the plan, you and I would have a totally different discussion, right? We talk about buy and hold and what this is and what that is and who went to the moon, all that kind of stuff. Inside the plan, we're talking about how do I, on a regular basis, buy low and sell high. And the companies that help you do that, for most folks that are inside a retirement plan, most companies will allow you to hit a button and determine how often you're going to do that, right? So you may just need to change your allocation, the way you're entering into the market. That is, take that questionnaire, change how you're putting money in, and your rebalancing may be already set up for you or not. So hit that button when you determine what it's going to be. I like once a quarter. Some people like twice a year. Some people like once a year. I'm not so sure it matters, taking my ego out of this. Not so sure it matters as long as you do it on a regular basis. Okay. Rebalance. And if you don't know what that means, you're welcome to call me, call your financial advisor, call the person at your company that manages your 401k. We'll go all over it for you. So you want to reevaluate and rebalance for the retirement plan. Cool.
Good advice.
What's that?
Good advice.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so that's cool. All right. The next two chapters are the next two things we want to talk about. And remember, you're always welcome, and things are much better when you do jump in. So please don't let me hog the mic this morning.
Okay. All righty.
So let's say that you're going to retire. All right. So you are 60 some odd years old or 50 some odd years, whatever it is. And you decided I got enough money in my 401k and my savings to where I can, number one, be pretty well assured that the money that comes in, that is the money that this pot of assets generates, and that is, let's make sure we understand that, not how much it equals, but how much it generates on a regular basis. As I say, every year or for the last couple of years, you've been looking at this pot of money and you've been looking at the growth amount, the amount of growth. And that growth is about 100, maybe 110% of your take-home pay. Right? Okay. That's what it is, right? Right. You can see that usually happens in your later years. It usually doesn't happen early. It usually happens in our later years. We've had some time in the market. That's happening, and you decide, you know what? I am done. Time for me to head for the hills. I'm going to look at my plan, the plan that we already wrote for what we're going to do when we retire. I'm going to look at that plan, and I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to take all that money and move it to an IRA in a set of investments that my financial advisor and I have talked about, or I'm going to take all of that money and I'm going to set up some type of systematic withdrawal system with this company. I can do that because I've got more than $5,000. Do I need to repeat that? I can leave it in that company because I've got more than $5,000, set up some systematic withdrawal thing, right? Or I'm going to come up with the plan that my financial advisor and I put together. Let me say, I'm going to come up with a plan that my financial advisor and I together that includes some annuities, if you're going to be working with me, some annuities, some money in the market, some life insurance, some combination of investments that's going to provide me the income that I need to fulfill my dreams, right? So I quickly have a discussion before I do anything else with my financial advisor, or I've had that discussion with my financial advisor. And this is what we're going to do, right? So we're going to implement that plan. And that usually involves an IRA. Now, why do we say that? We say that because number 3 option, which we do not recommend, which I'm actually afraid to say. So the third option, which we do not want to do, which we will not do, because we heard Jevon say it on the show, we're not going to do this. We are not going to take our money out, put it in the bank, and look for what we're going to do with it. We are not doing that. That's the
And
wrong
why are
thing.
we not doing that,
We're
Jevon?
not doing that because now we take all that money out. We have just raised our income in the eyes of Uncle Sam to whatever it normally is, plus all of that money that's in that account. There's a very good chance we could lose 40 to 50% of our assets in taxes. So let's say you've got $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 in there. You normally make 150. You put all of that money into your bank account, that's 7-8K. The government takes $300,000-$400,000. You're in a tough spot. Not good. Not only have you lost money, but now you've lost money you need to live on. And if you come to me then, I'm going to have to get really creative, and you're going to have to make some super changes as to what you want your life to be. So we're not doing that. We're not putting our money in the bank.
All righty. So you guys got that. Not in the bank, because if not, you're going to be taxed at a higher rate, because now you didn't just dump a whole bunch of cash and you are no longer working for anyone. And so now you have depleted at least 40 to 50% of your little nest egg there.
We have some issues. So don't do that. Roll the money. If you're going to roll the money into an IRA. If you are working with that financial advisor and they say you're stuck because if you roll the money into an IRA, you still have to pay taxes on it, get some clarification. I'm going to say right here and now, roll the money into your IRA. You do have to pay taxes on the money when you get it into your hot little hands. So you could be paying taxes on that money until you die, which is not a bad thing because you're only paying a little bit at a time, right? So don't get things twisted. Yes, you roll the money into an IRA. Yes, that's okay because we're only going to be taxed on what we take out, right? So if you're working with that CFP and they say to you, don't put your money into a 401k because you're going to be taxed at it, do yourself a favor and run. Even if they're your nephew, run. The key to taxes is when you pay them and how much you pay. It's not if you're going to pay. Right? We all got to pay.
How much? Right, exactly.
So you can determine how when much and how much, right? Not if. Right. So we're going to get ourselves a plan. Roll that money into an IRA. Can you have an annuity in an IRA? Yes. Can you have sustainable account in an IRA that pays you regularly for however how much? Yes. Can you operate better in your IRA than you can in your 401k? Probably. You have more freedom in that IRA, right? Why would you want to move the monies to an IRA? Well, the big reason is that if you leave the money in the 401k, some guy like me is going to be looking out for the participants in the 401k who happen to work there. They may have different needs than you have. You're not even in that group. You just get to go willy and wither and thither with what we decide is good for this group over here. Right. I'm not even going to talk to you. You're not even important. You can leave your money in there, but we're not talking to you. You got no say. No say. You can call me up and I'll help you, but you can't call the HR person and say, I think we should have more sustainable investments. Doesn't work. They don't care.
Okay, because you're no longer part of the fabric of
good
that
word.
design.
You're no longer part of the fabric.
Right.
So, move your money into an IRA. Okay. Run your life. Okay. So, number one, we're going to retire. We've got our plan set up. We're going to ask Jay Thomas what he's going to do. And that is, we're going to buy motorcycles. Yeah, maybe Harleys. And we're going to, not that we're going to buy those because they're not paying me to talk about them. So we're going to buy motorcycles and a motorhome, and we're going to travel around the country. And every now and then we're going to take a trip to Europe so that we can use our passport. That's what we're going to do. All right. Do we have enough money to do that? We do. Okay. We got X amount of dollars. Here we go. We take that money, we roll it into an IRA. We set up an annuity or some kind of wealth generating thing and wealth giving thing. Because I like paychecks and I need to have payment come once a month or I will spend it. So if you do that. And
so you're actually creating your own paycheck environment. Money is going to be, what are those, like the dividends or what have you, or that are just going to come to you?
And that's something I have to do because that's just me. You can be different. Whatever it is, it's going to come out of that IRA or some type of policy where you're not going to get taxed on it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's number
But
one. Now,
can I ask this question? So the money that's coming out of that IRA monthly to you, now that's a taxable event?
yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
Right. But, let's say that $300 a month comes out of that IRA. You have to pay tax on it, right? Based on your income. That's a lot better than being taxed on $400,000 right now.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Okay.
So you may be taxed on $300,000 for the next 30 years. Well, that's cool. We got to do it. We got to do it. So it's a question of when and how, not if.
Okay.
Right? When and how much, not if. So we got to pay the taxes, but when and how much? That's our question.
Okay. Now, can you have multiple IRAs, or would you have multiple, or you just have one?
If it were me, and I believe I'm okay saying this, I would have one, because I got enough going on in my life rather than try and keep up with the money, where it is.
Okay.
I'm not doing that. I just need one, right? Maybe 2 to 3, maybe 3 to 4 places of income, an IRA, life insurance, annuity, whatever it is, whatever you and your financial planner come up with. But you want simple. You can get extremely diverse with an IRA tool, right? Extremely diverse. And if you're at a place like a particular institution, I'm not going to name them, and they don't allow you to be diverse, run, get away from there, because there are places that you can be incredibly diverse, more diverse than you need to be honest with you. And you don't need to be super diverse. You need, for most of us, just going out on a dime, you need 3 to 4 pieces of income, and they may all be underneath the same IRA. You don't need 12 pieces of incomes. You don't need your money all over the place, right?
Okay.
Maybe you have some real estate. Maybe you have some investments. Maybe you have your own investments. Maybe. Most people are going to fall in 3 to 4 categories of where their money is. Does that make sense? Right? 3 to 4 categories. Because most people don't want to be getting mail all the time telling them what their mix is. And when you call that financial advisor, you don't want to be having 12 conversations of what am I doing with this money? You don't want that.
So simplicity is the advice that you're providing, is be simplistic about it.
Be simplistic. Okay. You're not going to make more money by having more than, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 4 to 5 pieces of income. You're not going to make more money, right? You need a good 3, 4, 5 pieces, right? So you need to know, okay, I have an annuity that's going to give me X. I have Social Security that's going to give me Y. I have money in the market that's going to generate between X and Y percent. I have rental income. I have things, right? So I've got my 4 to 5 pieces of money that are coming in. Okay. All right. So do I need money in the market from this advisor, and money in the market from this other advisor, and money in the market from this other advisor, right? No, I don't need that.
Okay.
So my father, for example, has benefits from the VA, and he has Medicare, and he has, and that's what he has for medical, right?
Okay.
He doesn't have his own medical insurance policy. He doesn't have my late mom's medical insurance policy. He doesn't have a policy that us kids gave him so that we could feel comfortable. He's not doing that. He's got VA and Medicare. That's it.
Okay.
Right? And when it comes to income, he has some money that he's saved and put away, and he has some what do you call them? With the pensions. He has some pensions. Right?
Okay.
Some pensions. He's got that. So he's got pensions. Okay. Every month, what am I getting from the pension? X. Okay. Every month, what am I getting from Social Security? Y. Okay. Every month, what am I getting from my annuity? X.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. That's
And
3
he was
sources.
self-employed after he got out of the military?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And he, married a young wife. She was 72 at the time. So he
Okay.
married this young wife. Oh, and it was good for him because she is a real saver. And so
Okay.
she has her income. And this is very important. It's a great question. You got to look at the kind of relationship that you have. If you have that kind of relationship where you share things, which is fine if that works for you, then you have to have that discussion about what's that look like, right? I don't know. I can't even pretend to know what that is. Does that look like I pay these bills and you pay these bills? Is it like we have a joint account? What's going to work better for you as a couple, as a unit?
Right. Right.
Was the last thing you want to have a discussion on is money. And I just have to tell you this before we go to the next topic. If you are having issues with money before you retire, retirement doesn't help them.
Yeah.
They don't go away. They just get worse, right? So if you don't have it mapped out, and if you're two different kinds of people, like my father and this young lady that she's young. I call her the young lady that he married. He's a lovely person. They look at money in different ways, and that's cool.
Yeah.
They need to have a discussion that I'm not part of that says this is how we're going to handle the bills, right? Now, fortunately, fortunately for my dad, he went ahead without asking me and got the book. Someone sat down with him and said, you need to put together the book that has the contact people and who do we need to call and all of that good stuff and where the money is and how much you've got that. They put that together without me. I didn't think I was that unimportant, to be honest with you, but they did that without me. Somehow the world existed without me.
Without you.
Without me. I don't know how, but somehow. So that's a good thing to do as well. So the big thing is talk with your financial advisor, get that plan, work that out with your family. You and I had a show where we called it family planning rather than individual retirement planning.
Right, it is family planning.
So it is a family thing. So that's cool. I like that.
I had a conversation with someone this weekend that retired military. So of course have pension from the military, and individual is single. And so he says whenever someone introduces him to a potential dating prospect, he says, I've had questions like, oh, so you have a military pension, huh? And I went,
what's out there?
Really say that? And he said, wow. That's what I said. Wow.
It's out there.
Really?
It's out there. Yeah, it's out there.
And I said, but wait a minute, you were married prior to and married for past for longer than 10 years. So I don't know why any new prospect would be asking about your pension.
It's
already claimed. It's already claimed.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, once we leave, I'll tell you about some friends of mine who've had some interesting awakenings with regard to their spouses. And that brings me back to the situation with regard to, let's say you do move those monies into an IRA. Your spouse is going to know. She or he is going to have to sign off on you moving those assets. So don't think
so they get notification. Anything that you're doing,
you can't move it without their signature.
Okay, all righty.
You can't move it without their signature. So you need to get that straight. However you do that, get that straight. Perhaps words for a beer or another show. Okay, let's move on to our second.
Okay.
The third option, I guess, is you're going to open up that business. Okay. All right. So you got the money inside your 401k and you decided this is your second act. We're going to open up our ice cream parlor and we're going to serve ice cream and make good money and do whatever we got to do. Okay. Right. First thing, how much is that going to cost us? X. Where should I get that? Well, I've decided I'm going to get that from my 401k. How do I do that? If I pull it out of my 401k, I got to pay taxes on it.
Mm.
Right. If I borrow it from my 401k and I use that money to buy my ice cream shop, I don't have to pay taxes until I leave the company. Then I got to pay taxes. That's tough.
Okay.
So, what do I need to do? Can I work part-time at the company? If I work part-time, then I'm still there, right? I may not be able to contribute, but I don't lose the benefit. I don't have to pay those taxes.
Okay.
So that's something to think about. Should I roll the money into an IRA? Yep, a good idea. Roll the money into an IRA.
But let me ask this question. So if you borrow it from your 401k and you put it back and you set up payment plans instead of borrowing it from a bank, then you're borrowing it from yourself, right?
Yep.
Pretty much. And then you're then paying the principal plus the interest of whatever the arrangements you make. Now you can at least write off that interest, right?
Well, you could if you still worked there. That's the whole deal. Once you leave,
you got to be physically still working there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I've
Because
never seen a company that will allow you. Yeah.
The loan is no longer a loan.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. It becomes taxable as soon as you leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, if it's your own company, I invested in my own company.
Yeah.
Right. Even if I took it, I would still be writing off my business expenses, but you definitely would have to talk to a CPA and your retirement advisor to really get clarity on what, because that would have to be a balancing act, like pros and cons. Okay. Do I do it this way? Do I do it this way? Do I do it this way? I'm investing. I mean, ultimately, I would say if you're investing, it would be better to borrow it from yourself than it is to borrow it from a bank because, the interest rates might be different.
Right. But you also have to look at where's that money coming from? Is it coming from my retirement account? Yes. Is my retirement account a benefit of the company that I work for? Yes. Then the rules that apply to a company retirement account don't have anything to do with you.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay. They're with that company retirement account. So how does that work? All right. So I was selling plans back in the day, and a gentleman was working for a firm, and he wanted to do a side thing, a side hustle. So, but he's still working for the firm, right? So he said, "Hey, for my side hustle, can I start a retirement plan?" Yeah, you can. How much can I put in there? Well, you can roll over as much as you want to roll over. Okay. So I've got a retirement plan that was set up, and he rolled over X amount of dollars into that plan. This is another company, got a company. So he's got working for this company, owns this company, rolls the money into that company. And then he calls me up and says, Jay, I rolled this money into my own company because I want to control my own destiny. Said, okay. Can I borrow money from that? I don't see why not. So then he borrowed some money from his own 401k where he's working.
Okay.
So, okay. Off he went into the sunset. So
as long as he's in business, and this is his own little side business, his own business, and pretty much he's gonna be there until whenever. He's not working
and
for
he's
someone else.
Working there. And it's a company benefit, right? Could he have borrowed it from his old company? Heck yeah, he's still working there, right? He could have borrowed it from the old company. He's just like the idea of controlling his own destiny, so he had one for himself.
And at some point, he probably would migrate into his own company full time. So now he's building his retirement over there. At his own company.
And here's the interesting thing about that. Since he had two 401ks, Could he contribute $19,000 to the first one and $19,000 to the second one? No.
Could he?
No.
Ah.
No, nope. No.
Okay.
But let's say the first company gave him a profit sharing of X amount of dollars, and the second company gave him a profit sharing of X amount of dollars. Could he take both of them? Heck yeah. The U.S. government doesn't mind. The U.S. government wants you to get as many profit sharing contributions as you can get.
Okay.
They don't want to limit that, right? That's company benefit. That's money the company decides to give you. But when it comes to your contribution, and this is kind of interesting, this is why the contribution to your 401k is kind of a bugaboo for people, because they kind of think, well, it's my money, and we get our vocabulary mixed up. So just set the record straight. The amount of money that you as an employee contribute, that's limited. You can only put in X. It doesn't matter how many times you're an employee. Let's say you've got 2 side hustles. You know, you work one on every month and one, whatever it is. You got 2 side hustles, and those side hustles allow you to make contributions. And that happens for people from time to time. So for example, when I lived in North Carolina, I had a job and I had a side hustle, and both of them had 401k options, right? So I could contribute to both. I could only contribute up to my $19,000 limit. So I could put 10 in one, 9 in the other, or in my life at that time, I was just out of college and very poor. So it
wasn't an issue, huh?
It wasn't an issue, exactly. So I put it in just a little bit. Now, both of those companies offered a profit sharing plan. Could I contribute? Could I benefit from both of them? And the answer is yes. Was there a limit that I could benefit? No. Truth be known, would it have mattered anyway? No, but there wasn't a limit to the profit sharing. That is the employer contribution. They could contribute as much as they wanted to. But my personal contribution, and that was the difference. And that's important because we're at the end of the year and we haven't paid those taxes necessarily, and you're starting that plan. You can start your plan now with this new legislation. You can start your plan at your tax filing deadline, right? Your tax filing deadline, you can still start the plan. So if you got a new company out there and you're thinking, I'm in that enviable position where I made too much money and I need to start something. And it's past the end of the year. Can I still make a contribution to my company-owned 401k?
Okay.
Got the side hustle going and I made some money, right? The
Uh-huh.
answer is yes. Now, can I make employee contributions? Because every company should give you the choice. Are you going to make employee contributions or are you going to make employer contributions? So don't get it twisted. Don't say, well, I'm the da-da-da, so I should be able to do, but don't do that.
Okay.
Right? You're going to make 2 kinds of contributions. That $19,500 plus the catch-up, that's an employee contribution, right? It's an employee contribution. How do you get to $50,000, which we always talk about? You make an employer contribution on top of that. If I am a small business person, I got my little hustle on the side, and I want to contribute more than what I can do over here with the company, I can put some money in my SEP IRA, and I don't need to make my SEP IRA contribution until my tax filing deadline, which could be April 15th or September, whenever it is that we file our taxes.
Okay. So if you're from a corporation, corporations file in March, right? Yeah, because personal.
No, don't get it twisted now. Don't get it twisted now. So.
Because you're an individual.
Yeah, right. So my company, I'm kind of limited. I got to make that employee contribution from the guys that I work for. That is my first job.
Okay.
They've got to get all of that in by 12/31, right? 12/31 employee contributions, those that come out of your paycheck. That's got to be done 12/31.
Okay.
Unfortunately, sometimes the years don't line up with laws, right? And so there'll be a little layover there, but they got to get that in by 12/31. That's the goal. Sometimes there's a little fudge, but that's the goal. Okay.
Mm.
Now, my own company, the Department of Labor, the IRS, they realize that small business people got a lot of stuff going on. So this year, you can actually start your 401k, your SEP IRA at your tax filing deadline.
Okay.
October 15th, right? Whenever, maybe that's how you extend it. You can start
Okay.
it then, as long as you haven't paid your
Oh.
tax.
I got it. Okay. Okay. I understand. Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, since you're starting it then, I'm going to recommend that you make an employer contribution and that you know the difference. You make the employer contribution. You can put in your whole $50,000 if you got it. Your employer contribution. Okay. And do your thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you
Makes
can
sense.
do that employer contribution. You can't do, I would say, avoid the employee contribution because then you're going to have issues.
That's the employer.
Right. Okay. So let's say I have a situation like a couple of my clients where I got the small business, I got some employees working for me. I need to put in my fair share. I want to retire as well. My employees put in money, they put in X amount. I'm limited to putting in 2% above what my employees put in. Have you heard this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So because
Yeah.
I'm an employer and I've got, I own Jay's Car Wash, and Jay's Car Wash has 5 people, and so those 5 people have I've made a 401k for those 5 people, right?
Okay. All right.
And I contribute to their 401k. I match some of their salaries. Let's say.
Right.
Let's
Okay.
say they have only contributed on average maybe 5% of their pay. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And their average deferral is only, let's say, $100, something like that.
Okay.
I'm not paying them very much. So probably run into it. I'm not paying them. They're not putting very much in. So
Right.
I have what we call, this is getting kind of granular, but we'll just hit it real quick because we want to get over to that don't be that guy. So I run into a situation called testing. A lot of your folks may know about this, where I own the company, I provide the 401k, I want to put in my $19,500. I can't do it because my employees don't contribute enough, and I'm limited to 2% above what they can contribute. So
Oh.
every year, I'm looking at how much can I contribute based on how much they contribute. Does that sound
Oh.
familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do I do? Well, if I put in X amount of dollars and it's too much, I got to reevaluate, stick it in, or pull it out. I got to reevaluate and pull out the excess amount. It's just a pain in the tickets. How do I avoid that? Well, the first thing I would do is say, okay, you always get the catch-up contribution. So we'll talk about this a little later, but you always get the catch-up contribution. So I would put in X, a modest amount, and expect to use your catch-up contribution. If you have a good company that does the testing, they'll take that extra amount that you put in, fill up that catch-up contribution. So I wouldn't even make a catch-up contribution through the year. I would wait till you've got
Because you're
and then let it flow over.
because it's not the profit sharing part of it, right?
Bingo. Okay. So now you say, all right, I've made my contribution. I made a little too much. I put in a little too much. It filled over into the catch-up. I'm not going to have to reevaluate my taxes, but I want to put a little more in. I don't want to put any more in the 401k. This is my thinking. I don't want to put any more in the 401k because that's just the way I am. I'm going to put some more into an IRA.
Okay.
Right. So now what happens? Well, I make more than $30,000 a year. So I can make that contribution to the IRA, but I cannot deduct it. Okay. All right. So the line of thinking is I maxed out my 401k. Can I put the money into an IRA? Yes. Can I deduct that contribution? No. But it does go tax deferred.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I maxed out my contribution. Can I put that money into a Roth IRA? Yes. Do I have to pay the taxes on the Roth IRA before you put it in? Yes. While it's growing? No.
Okay.
I pull that money out of the Roth IRA.
Okay. Yeah.
So is people say this that if
we've lost
you
sound.
There.
We lost your sound. You froze on us.
Yeah. I think
What happened?
you just now.
There you
Are
go.
you there now?
I am. Okay.
Oh. Okay. So the old adage was, if you have a job, can you contribute to an IRA? Okay. Answer to the question is yes. The second answer is you probably won't be able to deduct your contribution. Will it grow tax deferred? Yes. So again, we look at, we're going to have to pay the taxes. How much and when? Is the deal. Okay. All right.
Which
So
still, bottom line is sitting down with your retirement advisor, because that kind of gets, especially toward the end of the year, and that you're going to have, you can't, put that much in your company pension plan. So definitely we're going to sit down to make out what works for me with the profit sharing part of it. Yeah. That makes sense.
And that's the discussion that we have. You may decide, I don't want an IRA. I don't want a 401k and an IRA. That may not be appropriate for me if I own the business or if I'm making good money or whatever your situation is. So, Mr. Retirement Plan Advisor, Mr. Tax Person, should I have a 401k and an IRA? I can do it, but should I? Is that the best thing for me? Right?
Definitely would need to speak to someone that's the professional.
Just know it's the how and when. That's our question, not if, how and when.
How and when, right, exactly. Okay, wow.
Okay, so
good advice. So are we ready for don't beat that guy or that gal or that girl?
Okay, we got 2 minutes, so I hope I don't rush through this, but I gotta go kind of quick. So number one, great article. Quick synopsis. A young lady trusts her family friend who's a CPA with financial advice, and he tells her about a investment that is secure, guarantees an income, and secure and guarantees an income. Let's stop with that. Okay, so bad idea all over the place. Bad idea, not good. Number one, I don't know of any secure investments. There are some insurance products out there that are insured by other insurance products. Those are secure, sort of, depending on if that system doesn't fail. So guaranteed, anyone that says that, really look askance at that person. Number two, doesn't go down. Investment that doesn't go down. Really look askance at that, because you're in the market, things go up and down. They have to. That's how we make money.
Right.
Number three, family friend. Ooh, we got a problem there. Number three, family friend who's a CPA giving you advice on finance. Very difficult situation. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Okay. And I think that article went a step or even further. They weren't a CPA, they were an enrolled tax agent.
Well, even if they're an old enrolled agent, that's actually a good thing. An enrolled agent, they go
or tax preparer. I think that's what they were.
They're a tax preparer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not good. Do not. Don't do that. If you need a secure investment, understand It is secure within a particular set of restraints, and be aware of those, right?
Okay.
So if the market does this, if we do this, if this happens, this is secure. This is what's going to happen. This is your downside, right? If this happens, understand
Right.
that. The first time I bought a life insurance policy, my girlfriend and I did, they told
Uh-huh.
us that it was secure, is only going to go up unless XYZ happened. And we trusted the person. XYZ happened. And I ended up paying when I didn't think I had to. So I couldn't get out of that thing fast enough, lost a bunch of money. So I've been there. I've got that t-shirt. It ain't fun. Don't
Okay.
listen to people who say that.
Okay. No guarantees. There's nothing
No
guaranteed
guarantee.
in this world.
Yeah. So if that person says you cannot lose, run. Don't let that person near you, right? You can always lose.
Right.
How much and when, that's what we need to talk about, but you can always lose. Understand that. Okay. Don't get surprised. Where do you get that advice from? If you get it from someone that doesn't explain to you why they're giving it to you, give you some understanding of how this is going to work. For example, they say, look, here's the deal. We're invested in this part of the market. This part of the market goes up and down, but it doesn't go up and down that much. There's a very good chance that you're not going to feel it if it does. And this is how much it generates, which is on the low side of that. Now, this is something we can get inside. Okay, I'm going to make a decision based on the worst case scenario. Okay, you understand that. That's good, right? If that person can't explain it to you so that you have some understanding, leave. Push come to shove. If it's too complicated for them to explain it to you, that's too much risk in your portfolio. You don't need that. Unless maybe it's 2% of your portfolio, really, really little bit amount, and you like to live on the wild side. Right? And I never want to hear any of my friends say, I don't understand it. It just grows. And no. Have somebody talk to that person, someone you know understands how this works. Okay.
Right.
Number 2, should that person have CFP after their name when you ask for them advice? I'm going to say not necessarily. Right? Should they have some credentials? Yeah. And should you talk about that? Yeah. But most financial advisors that hold themselves out to be that have gone through some training. They understand the product. They're going to be good for you. If they don't, if you say to them, hey, what about this? And they say, I wouldn't pay attention to that. I don't know what that is. Run.
Okay.
Run.
Right.
Because, if you ask, and I'll just be point blank with it, if you ask 10 financial advisors how to manage a portfolio so that it's best for a specific client, you should get 11 answers. If you ask 10, you should get 11. And I'm going to say you should get 11 good, solid answers. And each one, either whatever one you pick, should work for you, right? That should be the way that it goes. So if you only get 5, we got an issue. Right? 10 people, you only get 5, something ain't right. If you get 20, we need to reevaluate that as well. But you should get about 11 of those different ways that work. Okay. So that's the deal. So yeah, tax preparer, not a good person for advice for where to put your money in retirement. Secure, a bad word. Guarantee, a bad word. I've seen some insurance policies that do that and live up to it, but not in the market. I don't know how that works.
I thought in that article that I read that definitely a conflict of interest. Someone that's preparing your taxes, right, and then asking you that should have been red flags as well, because one thing is they're recommending other vehicles that you could potentially invest in, but you would have to do your due diligence to make sure that it's right for you. But I thought that a red flag would be invest in my business.
Yeah.
Because that to me sends up all kinds of red flags, because it's not an unbiased decision, right? There's some gain.
Yeah.
That person is going to acquire some gain in it for you, and so that was a red flag. And for that article, as I was reading it, is you never know what pathway or route your life is going to take. And so a decision you make today while you're healthy could definitely change down the road, or I mean, a year, 2 years, 4 or 5 years down the road, especially if you're in that retirement age and when you're going to need more money, right? And so, it may have sounded like a fantastic idea in my in at this time when I heard it, but down the line, I don't know what's going to happen, and that's obviously the other part of that story. That young lady or individual became disabled and needed all of her money.
Yeah. And let's just get right down to it. She didn't have that much money, right?
Yeah, and she didn't have that much money, and that's even worse when you don't have a lot of money, and that little money has to go for another 10, 15, 20 years, because we live longer today. So it's already challenged in order to make sure that it is going to take care of you in your latter years when you probably need it far more, like when you get much older and illness or other illness, debilitating illnesses take place. You're going to need far more. And so I just thought when I was reading, like, oh, wow, first of all, totally unethical for the family friend tax preparer to suggest that you take money out of your retirement plan and then take that money and invest in his or her business.
Yeah. And what about picking a great time to die?
I mean, that was oh yeah, that's the other side, guys.
That's a bit of a red herring there.
Yeah. And if that all of that didn't have enough red flags, the individual died.
Yeah.
And now you find out that he had done that with multiple clients, and everything is in probate. So just the word probate just sends you into like a shiver go through your body, right? To get your money is going to take a fight, which means you got to hire an attorney, which means when you get that money, you're going to give up a third of that money to that attorney.
Some.
Right? At least some of it in order to get, and it can be drawn out for years. In the meantime, you have your own life that you're trying to live. So basically, don't be that guy.
No, don't be that guy. And I love the wording that you used there. You got to think, how do I get my money? Is this going to be a fight? Right?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to deal? And so whenever you have a plan, you want to make sure that on the back end, getting your money out, what's that going to entail? So if you decide you're going to have an annuity, how do I get my check? We send it to you. Okay, how do I get the rest of it? Well, if something happens, then based on what you have, we will give you X. Is that going to be a fight? No, you just call up. Okay, that's something I can deal with, right? And check it from time to time. All right, is it going to get ugly now? If it gets ugly, I don't want to have anything to do with that, right? Well, you have to leave it in this amount of time. And once you've had it in for this amount of time, then you can get it. Well, what if I die 2 years before that? We have a problem.
Right.
That's not a good place for the majority of my money, for me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it might be a good place for a little bit of my money that I'm not going to use. But as you said, I like taking that questionnaire every year because life changes. That's just the way things happen. Yesterday, I was healthy. Today, I have 2 broken legs and cancer in my throat. And my situation is different. It's just, it just is, right?
It just is. It changes. It changes with a blink of an eye. And you find you need, and again, like I said, it wasn't like she had a lot of money to work with. So when you
Right.
have smaller amounts of money and you still have life longevities of another 10, 15, 20 years, then you have to even be more cautious. And I guess, is it,
Mhm.
Jevon, and especially in your line of work, I know everyone's always looking for that quick get rich scheme, something that's going to double your money, which is gambling, double your money guaranteed so that you can get more. But I think you have to be more cautious about your money because it's got to be here for you for a long time, not just for that moment.
Yeah. I often joke with my colleagues that on the insurance side of the business, there are words that we don't use on the investment side of our business. So I
Mm,
have some friends on the insurance side of the business, and they will say words like guarantee. They'll say words like um, uh, won't go down. They'll say
mm-hmm,
words like secure,
mm-hmm.
right? They say stuff like that. On my side of the business, we never say stuff like that. Never, 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 never. And lots of their business has things to do with our business. So we're going to have a lady on our show, hopefully in the next couple of weeks,
Okay.
and she straddles both of them. And it's a good question to ask her because you need to know what is and isn't secure and what that means and who it is that you're talking to. So if you're talking to someone like me, and that person doesn't have somebody else in the room who knows what they're talking about with regard to secure, you
Mm-hmm.
really need to run. grab your spouse and teach them how to run so you can both get out of there.
Right.
That's a very, very dangerous word. Secure, guaranteed, dangerous words. So if anyone is saying that to you, you really got to pin them down.
Mm,
What what are you saying here? And if they're not talking with you in the capacity of someone offering you some type of annuity, some type of quote unquote insurance product, find out. That's a simple question. Is this an insurance product? If it is, what's the backup? The
mm,
backup is X. Okay. Okay. If this fails, I got X. Okay. Now I would feel more comfortable having that kind of discussion with a person that's selling me some type of insurance product.
mm-hmm.
And you just have to do it as part of being an adult. You got to remember that. Is this
Right.
an insurance product? Yes. Is it guaranteed? Yes. How do I know? Because of X, Y, and Z. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is this an insurance product? No. Is it going to go up and down? Yes. Is that something I can afford? Depending on how much you put in? Yes. At
Mm-hmm.
this level, yes. Why? Because it's only this much, or because it is this much, or you don't have the wherewithal not to take some risks. I think that's something we
Right.
have to talk about as well.
Yeah.
Is so many of us as Americans, we have saved so little to
Yeah.
where
That's true.
we can't afford to take some risk. We have to take the risk.
Yeah.
And when you do,
Exactly.
you got to do it. So, great questions. We're getting into the philosophical, which means I'll be able to talk for the next 2 hours if you don't want. So we should
Bottom
probably,
line is, we just want you to make sure
yeah,
that when you talk to someone, make sure that that person is not using some buzzwords that we know just makes no sense. Guarantees when it comes to money, no. Just if they're telling you that and that it's secure, and if anybody asks you that is doing other work for you and helping you out, and they ask you to invest in their company, your whole life nest, your whole little nest egg, answer is no.
no, I'm categorically no. Again, be
No.
careful. Don't ask your plumber to rewire your I don't know whatever things
Garage.
your garage. Yeah, don't do
Right.
that.
When they the plumber.
When you're the plumber, don't do that.
Hmm.
Don't do that. Okay, well, it is 2:05. You've been gracious enough to make me look good on the show by keeping things nice and light and airy, and I appreciate that. We should let our viewers get back to whatever it is that they do. I want to quickly read your bio because I didn't do that. So if
Okay.
you'll bear with me,
Hmm.
everyone, My friend and colleague is Crystal Mitchell. She is a business coach and consultant, CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, a weekly online radio show, an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and an expert in QuickBooks as a pro advisor financial strategist. Thank you, Crystal, for being on the show with me. And if you want to close us out, that would be great.
It is always a pleasure, Jevon. Thank you so much. That was a great show to kick off for 2022 on how to keep your money, how to protect your money, and how to make wise decisions with your money. And truly don't be that guy or that girl who makes some decisions with their nest eggs that could be vitally destructive towards your end of your life years. So we just want to make sure you guys understand these are conversations that we are having on the patio, and we will be back next Monday with another amazing conversation. And we welcome you back, and tell a friend.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Crystal. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching.